all set. Highlights and heart. Noonas podcast. Noonas podcast with Jenni and Jenni. With Jenni and Jenni. This is the Noonas podcast with Jenni and Jenni.
Dual set.
Heart to heart.
Noonas podcast. We are back, officially back now.
Welcome back.
With
I'm all energized and I'm ready.
I guess I don't know. Oh, man, it's been a long hiatus. I mean, I guess because we had a pre-comeback episode, but
plus, I felt like our our last pre-single, if you like to call it that, show has been actually the one that we have to do 2 hours, but. I think with this, we're just going to be really simple comeback reviews.
The pre-comeback was spectacular and amazing, and then the actual comeback is
bombastic. And then now we're okay, well, back to our regular program schedule.
It's and you're back to your regularly scheduled two nerds talking about K-pop. Yep, this is the Noonas podcast with your hosts Jenni and Jenni. And
good.
Yes. We are officially back with our normal weekly content of album reviews and K-pop news going on from Korea. And I mean, we got a pretty, I won't say super packed, but we got a pretty, I think, decently sized episode this week, because I think we're going to have substantial. I think we're going to have some good discussions this week regarding a couple of the albums we're talking about this week, because we're going to be reviewing a couple of releases from last week, namely aespa's release with their first mini album, Savage, finally releasing an album. I feel like, even though they've been out.
It's been years. Yeah, it's under a year since they debuted, and they've been just releasing just singles and not even a mini album yet.
So now we finally actually have an album under their belts. And how does it sound? Well, we'll let you know. We also have a release this week from acclaimed R&B songwriter Woodz, who I'll actually have to get into a little bit of his back history, because he's also on Produce 101. He was also part of the defunct group X1, part of the Produce 101 vote fixing scandal. I'll have to fill you all in on that little history nugget, but he was part of it. But unfortunately, the group he was involved in with couldn't really fluster under that. So, but he's now back with his new album, Love Only Lovers Left. And we also have a new release this week from fourth generation group Enhypen from B-Lift Labs, subsidiary of both Hybe and Big Head in CJ E&M Entertainment, with their actually first full album, Dimension Dilemma. And so we'll see what their first full album entails. Now they're going a little more into their storyline in this new era of their music, they're saying. So, but otherwise, besides that, we're back, hopefully now post-COVID. We're still kind of dealing with some of the remnants of COVID. Concerts are starting to get announced and coming back and stuff. Unfortunately, if those of you who are in the know, BTS had announced a tour, not really tour. Can you count 4 shows as a tour in one city? I don't think that's really a tour. But
I don't know, you tell me.
I feel like that's just I love how people have been counting it as like a residency, even though they're really only having 4 shows in LA, but sure, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, for those of you who I don't know who are in the know, but I know if anyone knows any big news out of K-pop, I mean, BTS did have was selling their tickets previously last week. I know I was kind of talking about it, kind of mentioned briefly when we were talking about albums last week during our pre-comeback special, me attempting to get tickets for that show in LA. And I will have to say I did not really succeed, although I do have some friends who are potentially holding tickets for me if I can potentially get money for LA, but it's not looking too likely because it's a little expensive to fly to LA post Thanksgiving. Nice timing on that tour, guys. But the more interesting thing is the fact that the tickets themselves for the 4 days in LA sold out before they even went on sale to the general public.
No kidding. Well, are we that surprised, with BTS and ARMY?
No, I mean, we're not really super surprised because, the power of ARMY. Also, the fact like you really were expecting 4 shows to satiate like the whole of ARMY worldwide. Like I don't think that's going to really work. So even though SoFi Stadium in LA is gigantic, like it is a huge stadium. It's a $5 billion stadium, and apparently it does not have a bad seat in the house. Supposedly, I can't quote me on that because I don't know for sure. I've never been there, but it's just I mean it's kind of crazy, although, I've been hearing horror stories from many ARMYs and some firsthand knowledge included from some, personal friends of mine who were attempting to get tickets, even myself when I was trying to get tickets, of how much of a absolute shit show Ticketmaster is, which if you're from the United States, I think they have Ticketmaster in Canada too, Jenni?
Yeah, I believe we do.
Okay. So if anybody who's in the know, Ticketmaster is an absolute shit show trying to get tickets. Anyway, couple that with the fact that, BTS obviously is the biggest group in the world. And it just expected to be just an absolute madhouse trying to get tickets. Like you're basically in the luck of the draw where you are online. And it just wasn't good. Also, I just know people were like having issues with like codes because there were pre-sale codes for people who had tickets for the previous tour, the Map with the Soul tour, who couldn't utilize them. There were issues with people's accounts, just glitches in the system. I know issues with like the VIP sound check issues, like the fact like those weren't really easily available, and lots of mitigating issues. I know Snow, and I know when ARMY's pissed off, they're pissed off. So whether or not there'll be repercussions to Ticketmaster, I mean, we highly doubt it because people try to change Ticketmaster all the time, and I don't think anything happens because they kind of have a monopoly on the concert ticket field, unfortunately, for like first go around.
Yeah.
So
it's just if you have to just since it's going to be like this big sale going on, they should like better.
I mean, there's so much we can do, unfortunately.
Something easier. Yeah.
But and then on top of that, like I know I've been seeing on some resale markets like tickets going for thousands of dollars. So I mean, like don't go looking around now because it's still too early, and a lot of the tickets out there right now are not actual tickets.
Don't bother.
Don't bother right now because a lot of them, a cautionary tale, a lot of those tickets on those secondary like StubHub or anything are not actual tickets. So do not get scammed out of your money for potential not actual tickets. Like make sure you're going through an actual legit seller. I know, like I said, if you know legit people who are going to the show, if you know like legit sources, like I know a lot of people, if you are ARMY and you want to go to the show, hit up Reddit, hit up any like legit like Facebook page that is like centralized with ARMY, and you will find probably an actual legit source to find a ticket. So, because that's probably going to be your best bet. And take this as a veteran ARMY who has been to a BTS concert, who managed to actually find one on the secondhand site and was not a scam. And Himo still got upgraded to a better spot at the show she went to. long story, but it's still kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, there are at least safer and more legit ways to do it than not getting scammed. Hopefully, out of $50,000, I did see one ticket out there for $50,000, and I'm like, I know someone crazy.
No way.
I'm not kidding you. For a floor seat, I was like, I know someone crazy would probably pay that, but do not do that. I don't think it's.
Just kidding.
No, I would. Oh God, no, I would not. 50,000, no. I'm not that crazy of an army. Believe me, not that crazy. I mean, I am a crazy army, but I'm not that insane. So
when it comes to ATs, though,
I don't think you can pay $50,000 for ATs. Like again,
sorry, you're not that worth of my infections. I'm kidding.
Hey, don't say that. Although don't say that. But I'm also hoping that at least like hopefully this like fervor for tickets and stuff is meaning that more concerts are going to get announced for other groups soon. I mean, there's already been other K-pop tours announced in the States. Like we already had Monsta X announced dates, and I think are touring early 2022, as well as the group Very Very announced tour dates not that long ago. And I think they have tour dates for at least a dozen shows, I believe, in the States. I believe it's around 9 to 12 shows. I can't quote me on the exact number. But it looks like other groups are starting to look at, tour dates. So potentially we might be on the other side of this now, and we might be able to see some of these groups finally touring again in the near future, which I'm not going to lie, kind of excited about, because I really, really kind of do want to see ATs. I do want to see Stray Kids. I do want to see Tomorrow by Together. I do want to see Enhypen, who haven't had a tour yet because they just literally debuted like less than a year ago in the middle of COVID. So there's a lot of groups out there that I'd love to check out, and hopefully we get to see people get to tour soon. So
yeah, here's hoping though. You gotta get that touring money though too.
Yeah, here's also me hoping I don't come broke because of all these concerts. Potentially.
So or else he's gonna be in debt, and then they're gonna be like invited to some kind of game, shiesty game.
And this is how I end up in the Squid Game, is because concert tickets and albums. This is how it.
Oh, that'll be so funny if like we have like someone who looks like Gong Yoo starts like inviting people. I want to like take out like a ticket sales here.
Which doctor do you want, the red one or the blue one? I'll take the blue one, please.
You gotta win. You gotta win this game so you can win those tickets.
Can I have $100 so I can have second my concert tickets, please? Let's stop thinking about concert tickets. Let's actually start thinking about the actual music itself, and let's get into these album reviews for the week. Itself. So before I get slapped by Gong Yoo, apparently, that man can slap me anyway. Anywho, let's move on. Let's get on to our album reviews with our first review of the week. Again, this was an album that came out last week. I think, when did this come out? Last week, Tuesday?
Yeah, last week. Just last week.
Last week.
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, so Tuesday.
Just last week.
So Tuesday the 5th with aespa. And again, this is her first mini album, Savage, with the title track, Savage.
Savage. There's so many Savage, titles of the, in K-pop. Mm-hmm. That's why they're kind of we should get more original title tracks for some reason for K-pop projects, because it's becoming very difficult for us to
yeah, because because
if you're talking about Fire, which Fire, BTS or some other group.
Yeah, is it BTS? Are you talking about BTS's Fire? Are you talking about Cypher's Fire? Are you talking about? I'm trying to think what other fires are out there that I know off the top of my head. There's a lot of fires out there. I mean, there's a lot of deja vus too, because I have AT's deja vu, yeah. I have Noonas' deja vu,
NCT Dream's deja vu.
Exactly. There's a ton of deja vus, even though I had AT's deja vu. But anyway, yeah, Savage is also one of those common titles. It's a lot of groups have the title Savage. Even Blackpink.
Savage.
Blackpink just had their pretty savage. So they're very
Megan Thee Stallion savage. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god. But yeah, I'm just it's such a just kind of
very common
title. And it's just kind of okay. And then we get the music video, which I'm not gonna lie, or the song and the music video, and I'm like, it starts the oh my god, and I'm just sitting there like, oh no, I am not the demographic for this at all, am I?
Yeah, no, like even my like the opening quote or the opening line, even my sister like, ew.
Did she like
yeah,
cringe?
I got like, oh, and like, well, that, yeah, with that, it like, like first, the first impression of the song, I was like kind of, yeah, I was like there. I was like, okay, so great.
Yeah, like, was it, oh my god, such a savage. And it's just like,
no, it's like, oh my gosh, don't you know I'm a savage?
And it's just like,
I'm like, okay.
I'm like, oh god, it's like Gen Zers. I'm like, I'm about to slap a Gen Zer apparently. Yeah,
I know, this is all their fault. This is all
the millennial me is quaking. But yeah, just
okay, boomer.
yeah, I'm like the okay boomer energy apparently happening here, even though I'm a millennial. But hello, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, and then there's always been this issue with aespa's music. I found, through Black Mamba and through Next Level. Even though I'll say Next Level's grown on me, and I don't know if it's because it's just become so viral in Korea.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with me and Dum Dum. Is like first impression, I was like a bit thrown off by like the music and all that. But now, like, since everyone's just like doing the challenges, or just like I just keep hearing it anywhere, it's like I'm kind of like now conforming. It's like, okay, it kind of slaps.
Yeah, like I just kind of, is it like laughing through the pain? Kind of, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm like more like okay, it sounds really addicting too.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we talked about it. Like I said, I like Next Level better than Black Mamba originally. Savage, I just don't like.
It's hard to like get with the, because like at the first first impression, like the lyrics and just like the way it's produced, it feels really off, and it just it feels like it feels to me, because I told you this before, before we recorded, it feels a lot like those Bratz movies or the Barbie movies, when they're like posed as like superheroes and they have this really like cheesy girl power kind of like music and all that. It's like so artificially made, but it's mostly like for like the younger audience, for the younger girls, but it's like all layered in like this artificial, like sleek, like futuristic aesthetics. It's just
yeah,
it's kind of like that. Not natural, but it's just for the girls to have enjoy.
Yeah, it definitely
so
is.
Much like that.
Yeah, it definitely is kind of like that very like girl power, like girls can do it, teamwork, like very
like
bright shiny veneer.
Like
yeah, they're very bright shiny veneer to it. And I mean, even the music video is like that too, because like it's just it's full of all like this like really weird imagery, because it's like they're obviously playing with this futuristic stuff, which is like kind of been their whole image because of the whole AI, all of the members of aespa having like their AI counterparts, and like again them dropping all this like futuristic like lingo, which they've been doing in all their songs. Which again, I need a Wikipedia of like what all these terms are, like what is like sync, like what is kwangya, like what are all these things?
Okay, I think we kind of like guess. Okay, Kwangya is probably like their home planet that they have to protect and all that. Navis, I'm guessing, since they are introducing that like the character Navis, which is like probably like the protector or guardian. So I am assuming like the the basis thing for for like with their concept that like, okay, Navis is probably like that the other character that they see in the music videos. So I can get that. It's just a couple of things, but it's just still so confusing to like the audience, especially the ones who don't know about aespa and they want to get into their music. So it's like they kind of be like out of the loop with like with the concept or like their narrative,
right? Because it's like they're like doing all this stuff and they're putting all these words in like nonsense. I won't say nonsense, but it feels like nonsense obviously to a non-aespa fan, and I don't believe they have a name for their fandom yet, so I can't really say what the name.
Yeah, it is. It's called My. That's the fandom name for aespa.
Are My's?
MY.
Okay.
Yeah, My's.
Just My's. Okay, yeah. So for My's, obviously they'll be more into it because they'll know kind of be more into the universe and understand the stuff. But like if you have somebody coming in new, especially like say you have somebody coming in new like years later, and like what happens if they're further down into their universe and like they're really deep into the lore, they're going to be so lost because like they keep putting all this lingo and stuff in their songs. And I just think it's very confusing for like a new listener. Like you almost have to start at the beginning of their discography to kind of for it to make sense. If that makes any sense for me. Because it's not like oh no, go ahead.
No, but yeah, because we're talking about, because a lot of K-pop groups, they have like a narrative or a concept that would be like consistent to like through their music career, like they would like continue to like continue with their story and where they're going through, but like with the difference, like you see with BTS, right, with their universe building, or with ATEEZ or even EXO before, like they have their own like standard concept, and they have like their own like identity like to them, that what makes them like this group. But the thing with them is their music that doesn't reference too much of like their story, that doesn't like explicitly tell us, the story of like, oh, like red, we're going to fight the Red Force, with EXO, like something like that. Or with BTS, they don't like really explain or that like really present their story to the audience, because it could be like, interpreted in like many different ways. You can enjoy like the songs without knowing, the story, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but with aespa, they have like to throw out like the kwangya, like the other like, terms. So it's kind of like throws me off, throws like some people, off, like they don't know what was going on, right?
Exactly. It's like if ATEEZ kept like throwing Cromer into their lyrics, and you don't know what the hell the Cromer is, like that would just throw off new fans. Like for somebody, for me, who is, an ATEEZ and who knows more into the fandom, and knows what the Cromer is. We know it's the magical time turning device. But for newer fans of ATEEZ, they wouldn't know what the hell that is. And if they kept like referencing that, people would be so confused. And that's what I'm kind of equating this with. So it's just like, it's like almost like SM's trying to like, it's almost like SM's DCing, like DC Universing aespa.
DC or Sony, which is like
good point, especially after Venom.
Yeah.
Because like they're rushing too far into their universe building, and they're like skipping over steps and trying to get too far and too deep into this. Whereas
and also dragging along, and dragging like other groups too, trying to like reference their, their turn in the words and the names too.
Right, exactly. Like, because we saw that they were trying to drag in like NCT Dream, and they were trying to drag in
Super M. Well, I know NCT, like during last year with their Resonance, and they, reference some, like the Cosmos. Also, EXO too, and Don't Fight the Feeling.
Right, and then NCT Dream in their repackage for Hello Future had some references to, I think, Kwangya too, and it's just like, why
did they mention Kwangya, or is it like just like the visual? Because I tried to check the lyrics, but I don't see them like mentioning.
I don't know if it was that or Hot Sauce. I think Hot Sauce has actually like Kwangya in it, and we're like, wait, did they?
I don't think so too. I was like, let's look at the lyrics. I was like, I don't think they did, because I was kind of happy now with the recent albums with like NCT and Super Junior and Key too. Like the recent albums from under aespa, like they don't mention Kwangya anymore. Red Velvet too, they don't mention that either. Which is I'm very happy that that they're going that.
Yeah, considering they were trying to establish like this SM, like whole SM universe.
Connected universe.
To connect all their groups together, which, I mean, I kind of get for some of them. Like some of them do have a more sci-fi concept, like EXO and NCT in a little bit, and obviously aespa, but like Red Velvet doesn't really have a sci-fi concept, and neither does Super Junior. No. And neither does Shiny for that matter, if they really even have a concept, because they just kind of are. Shiny's a second gen group. Like they've done whatever they wanted to do. So it's really weird to all of a sudden just tie these other groups in that don't really have established universes, that don't really fit into this whole narrative.
It's a very ambitious move under SM, but I don't know like what is the end game of this. It just feels like just like I don't know, like they just like forcing a lot of like new elements in, which is under like for the sake of like a new group, which it could have been easier if they just like made it like a separate storyline or just like have their own thing.
Yeah. Like it'd be cool like if they just had obviously they kept aespa and they kept the whole AI thing and kept that its own special thing and just kept it isolated because like I think it's just overly ambitious and just too I don't know. It's too great of a thing, especially because like I already think itself the whole AI thing's a little weird, especially all the things they are talking about with like kind of like people interacting with the AIs and stuff. That just there's a little bit of a creep vibe to that I can kind of see with fans and stuff.
I heard SM is taking action. So like if they do like exploit like the AI in like in a decent manner, then they will keep watching that. Okay. Well, yeah, hopefully they can better manage them because they with SM they have a lot of like they have a lot of like issues with them like trying to manage their idols or trying to like treat them better. Yeah. So it's all too much though.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm also sitting here. I'm like, is SM really the best company to do a concept like this? Like, I don't really know.
SM right now, SM is really into like the futuristic, vibes now. So that I get why they're like doing that. Yeah, but other than like going back with the technical or like the production too. Yeah, it's just like it's just like the single itself feels really campy again, going back to like the little girls like the Bratz vibe and even Barbie as well, because like even the chorus that was kind of like the chorus too was like gimme now, gimme. It kind of felt like off for me. Yeah, but even though right now I would kind of like listening to it and kind of like okay, I would like listen to it just for fun. But other than that, even the choreography too, like I was like look at the choreography and then it feels really, it feels really, not stiff, but it feels like really complex too. Like it doesn't flow well together. It's like,
there's not much I'm just like, gracefulness in the choreography. You would think like with a girl group, like there's sometimes like a little more gracefulness or fluidity with a girl group with their choreography.
Yeah, it's just some of the moves that they do, it would like kind of be hard to like return to like that form. I was like, because we're not that expert, but I'm just kind of like seeing it like through like a average viewer. Yeah, it feels really complex for them to to pull off. Too.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I like obviously like more girl groups going a little more aggressive, like again, like harking back to Everglow with their last comeback, we'd like that because that was definitely like harkening more to like fourth gen boy groups doing more aggressive hard-hitting choreography, but that actually had felt like something like really cool and really impressive. Yeah, this just it feels clunky. The choreography feels a little clunky to me.
Yeah, that's the word for it.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I'm just and the whole album itself, like I said, I feel like they should have released this as their debut, because especially with the first track, like A Energy, like that, like
feels, A Energy.
Like that, because like the whole thing, like again, is dropping all the like lingo, it's dropping their names and stuff like that. Would have been like a perfect introduction into them. And I'm like, why weren't you doing this as their introduction? Why did you decide to do like two singles?
Like Black Mamba, which is like introducing their enemy of the story of the Black Mamba. So it just feels like really like just jumping all over the place. But like A Energy, that's again Bratz vibe. But that'll be it is an introduction like in the mini album, but they could have like introduced that maybe in a pre-single and like when they're first starting out. That would have made more sense like narratively.
Yeah, it feels so out of place now, because it's like, okay, we're already deep into the story and now you're going back to the beginning. It's so out of place.
Like really have like had that as a pre-single and then like Black Mamba or I don't know, like which.
I just feel like SM's just kind of them introducing this group has just been kind of a mess. I'm not even going to lie. Because I feel like, one, I think they kind of rushed them out a little bit. And two, I don't think they really fully knew what they were doing. Because I feel like I think some people were thinking they kind of rushed them out after the whole Salugi scandal.
Was Irene.
Oh, there's not the Salugi, but Irene. The Irene scandal at the end of last year. So in order to kind of like get the attention away from Irene, they're like, oh, hey, we got a new girl group. So
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know, like that's still like not a confirmed thing, or like why the reason why they
right.
did it, but also, but yeah, but they're really talented too, like on their own. Like
Yeah.
Karina, is like exceptional dancer too, and Winter and Ning Ning are really great vocalists too, and like Giselle's like a promising rapper,
Hmm.
and like it's just like with SM, I think I don't think they use too much of like their capabilities like all too well, and it's just like I think there's like slowly going there, like we can see like more of like Karina and like Giselle's rap, so there's still potential like in it, because I really enjoyed like the verses with Karina and Giselle, especially with the second verse,
Hmm.
like like those like the rap flows, like that was good, and but these are the music production is like is still over the place too. It's just
Yeah.
like yeah.
Yeah, and I think if they can figure out the music production side of things like better, and like can get that cleaned up, like, and figure out what they're doing with that, like, because again, like I don't mind experimental, like we were talking about experimental until last week with NCT 127, obviously with
NCT
Sticker,
sticker.
we were
Yeah.
talking about that, and so we don't have an issue with experimentation. It's just like I feel like they keep experimenting, but it's
How you
just
deliver it.
it's really just all over the place. Like, because I will say this, like, even if we want to go back to Savage quick, like those ad libs at the end are just kind of obsessive. Like they're just
Oh yeah.
there's like because I think two of them are doing ad libs on top of one another, and it's just like
Oh
it's
yeah.
too much. It's like it's okay if one person's ad libbing and doing like those high notes in the I know pelagos and stuff, but it's just like it's too much if you have two people trying to do it over on top of one another, and you're layering it on top of one another, on top of the music, and top of them the other two singing. It's too much. So
Yeah, and it also goes like with the standard thing of like SM music production, because they do love their bass, like they do like the synth bass that like drives like
mhm.
at the back, and you have like the high pitch, like the really the really sharp, like the the synth, like the synth sounds too, like like
Yeah.
they always like made it like really like really sharp and loud.
Mhm.
Also like they also like doing hip hop and R&B together, so like a hip hop verse and then it goes to like an R&B verse, and it's like a very like the formula of like an SM music.
Yeah, it very much is. So I mean, did you have
Yeah.
anything you liked off of Savage, the album itself, that you think was maybe
It's pretty much the
redeeming?
same. It's pretty much the similar thing with Sticker,
Mhm.
that I enjoy like the B sides better than like the single track.
Mhm.
So I actually listed down like the ones that I like from the Savage album, which is Yeppy Yeppy. Yeah, like when I heard that, I was like thinking it feels very like itsy, like the music with it, and like how it's sung. It feels very itsy
Okay.
for me. Yeah, and well, but actually, do enjoy it, and it's like a better, like better made than with Savage. I
Yeah.
also like, enjoyed Iconic, even though, yeah, a lot of the songs really reminds me of a lot of like existing groups.
Mhm.
Iconic feels so much like an NCT Super M like type of vibe,
Mhm.
because yeah, and my favorite, I think my most favorite one would be Lucid Dream, which is the last track from the album, because I really like the it's very minimal, like with how they made the music,
Mhm.
and like you said before with NCT, less is more,
Yeah.
and I really like it's very chill, and it's very like it's a great way to like close out an album, yeah, and
Okay.
it's very R&B, which I like. It really reminds me of Baekhyun's Ice Queen. If you guys haven't heard of that, like listen to City Lights, Baekhyun's first solo album.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll say I like this. I mean, because I feel like we're gonna talk about every song on this album, because you skipped over the third song, which is after Savage. Because I actually really like the song "I'll Make You Cry," which is the song that
Oh,
comes
really?
after Savage.
Huh.
I like that one. I mean, it's suffered a little bit in the beginning of it with a little bit of the overproduction, because it's a little bit of a mess in the beginning, but it eventually kind of smooths out, and I kind of like the more video game esque soundtrack quality to it, because it kind of sounds like something from a video game. Like if they would do something more like that for a single, like I could maybe vibe with that a little bit better. Also, it just kind of reminded me of a G-Idol song, or I keep pronouncing the name, Idol, an Idol song
Idol, yeah.
from 2019 that they did actually for a animated series. called Relay. It's actually for the season. It's for season 2 of the Running Man animated series. It was a theme for that season. And it reminds me a lot of that, kind of some of that, the background noise to it. And so I kind of vibed with that a little bit. So again, like kind of harkening to, they kind of sound like other groups that are out there. So it's like, I think there's still something out there that we're still trying to find an identity, what exactly aespa is. There's just suffering from like way too much experimentation, and it's very much hindering, I think, who they could become as a group. I mean, although they are, still achieving a lot of success, like they're still getting tons of hits and on YouTube, and they're still seeing a lot of success on the charts and everything too. I don't know if that's just like the SM name behind them that's doing
like reputation,
it.
Reputation and like people, would be, might be that factor of like why, because SM's like a well-known name, and then they kind of like support like a new group behind them.
Exactly. So, because I mean, because right now I just checked before, and I believe Savage is like sitting at like 85 million, 85 million hits already on YouTube for the music video. So it's like
they surpassed Sticker too, which is like, that's really surprising. Like, wow.
Yeah, like it's quite impressive. Like they're already where they're sitting at in terms of their music video. So it's
like it really like pushes them into like still becoming like fourth gen, like well-known fourth gen groups,
fourth gen groups
too.
Period is not just girl groups, but fourth gen groups period. So I mean, I think they're already topping the charts. Just period too is fourth gen girl groups in terms of just the success the album had this week. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's my cup of tea. Honestly, it's like I said, Next Level grew on me, but with their previous single, but like this one, I don't foresee this one growing on me, unfortunately. And I don't know. This one, I don't know. I'm still really, really unsure about aespa. Like there's other groups, like other girl groups I would rather go to first than aespa in my mind.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So that's how I feel. So, I mean, I guess I'm an old boomer millennial, but anyway.
I mean, for me, I'm like, I'm more open with aespa. Like I can see like where they're going. But yeah, like there's still like ways to go, and still need to like stuff to improve. But yeah, I think I'm pretty much more open with aespa. I was like, okay, like, hopefully guys like being able to find like that one that will like puts you in the name, and is also like technically like very appealing and very that would like succeed like with what we like think of you.
Yeah. So, but let's move on to our next album, because I think we've talked enough about aespa. No, I'm kidding. Like that sounded very mean coming out my mouth. But, no, no. I mean, because I think we had a really, really in-depth discussion about just. Because like I said, there's just a lot of stuff talking about aespa, but we got to get into other reviews for the week. And I think we should move on to our next review for the week. And I think we should move on to Woodz. Again, this is Woodz. I believe this is his first, this is his third extended play, excuse me. This is his third EP that's coming out with Only Lovers Left. And he's actually promoting this. I think he says he's promoting this with double title tracks with Kiss of Fire and Waiting, but I think Waiting is the primary. Oh, really? I think Waiting is the primary title track.
Yeah, Waiting is like the one that's like the most like put out more with this album.
Yeah, because I've been seeing
like there's like other live shows like Kiss of Fire and I think Chaser were just like released today, like live shows.
Yeah, I know I've seen more performances of Waiting in the last week than I have of Kiss of Fire, even though I do like Kiss of Fire, but I will get into that in a second. But first, a little history on Woodz, because we haven't talked a lot about Woodz on the show in the past, but Woodz
please educate me, because this is my first time hearing from Woodz, and I have to listen to the album. So new student here.
So new student here, because I've heard a couple of his stuff. I've heard a couple of his like solo works previously, like before he was actually on Produce 101. So he is he's actually a former member of the band Unique, spelled UNIQ, and they which debuted in 2015, Unfortunately, the group did they kind of became more infrequent. They didn't last that long, unfortunately. So it was like they only lasted like a year. They do have a couple good things out there, but unfortunately didn't last too long. So he actually then went off and started doing some solo work in like 2016. He actually was on Show Me the Money season 5. And he actually he got a lot of positive attention on the show, even though he got eliminated pretty early in the season. But he also, but he's also been really well known to produce a lot of his own stuff and write a lot of his own stuff. So he's been known a lot with a lot of other like producers in the K-pop world, like Eden and Odd Tom and Blood. So because he actually started a lot of like production crews and stuff. So like he's actually like written music for other groups and stuff. Like he's written songs, I believe. He wrote a song for On and Off, and he's I think helped write a song, I think, for a song for Im Hong Sik, member BTB. And so like he's definitely like he's worked with a lot of other people around K-pop and stuff. And then he decided in 2018 to go on the show Produce 101, which is Produce 101, for those of you who don't quite know, was a really, really big idol competition show, which basically it was 101 idols. Every season, there were 4 seasons of the show, and it was 2 seasons of guys and 2 seasons of girls, and they would compete. They all come from different agencies, and they would compete, and there would be votes from fans at home, and the top, I believe, usually was the top like 7 to 11 groups or 7 to 11 members. It depended on the season. I think the last 3 seasons, it was the top 11 members. After they would win, and then they get to promote with as a group for like a year and a half to 2 years. That's how we got 101. That's how we got Is One. And that's also how we got the group that was supposed to be the winners of the 4th season, X1. And Woodz actually got through far enough. He actually got through and finished, I believe, in that season. He finished 5th, I believe, in that season.
Oh, okay.
Which is crazy. So apparently he was supposed to, he actually started, when he started the show, he was ranking very low. Like he consistently rose in the ranks. Like the first episode, he was ranked 67th. And then he consistently would rank continually and get higher and higher and higher. He actually finished. Yeah, he finished 5th on the finale on July 19th before the show ended. He became in the show's history, he became the trainee with the lowest initial rank to earn a spot in the final lineup of the group ever.
Wow.
And he's the only trainee ever to consistently rise through the ranks to ever get on one of these groups. Because he didn't even get into the top 10 until the penultimate episode of the show, of that season. So like he just continuously rose through the ranks because people were just really impressed, I think, with his songwriting skills and everything too, and everything he would do. So, but unfortunately what happened with X1 is the reason people were wondering why we haven't heard about X1, because we talked about Is One, we talked a little bit about 101 because we've talked about a couple of the idols who've come from 101 in the past. Well, what happened is X1 started their debut and started to do their stuff, and they actually had a lot of success with their initial debut. It then came to light that people were starting to look at the votes, and there were some interesting numbers with the votes. Like the last numbers were starting to look very, very interesting. Like they looked like they were fixed. Like the votes were manipulated because it just looked too perfect. And so it kind of got out there and it got investigated, and to the point that apparently it was found out that some of the production had tampered with the votes. They originally said admitted there were errors in the calculation, but they said the final rankings were correct and there was no intention in changing the lineups. But then it came out then saying that it came out more and more and saying that like people were like, it just like producers were kind of wanted to like fix it to like have specific idols get in. Like they were trying to fix and get more people, like the people in there, and to like actually get into the actual final group and stuff. So
Yeah.
it got
I've heard so much about that too.
Yeah, because that happened around 2019. So like this is like literally right after X1 debuted. And so because of that and because of all that drama, like they weren't the members of X1 weren't like people were like, okay, they really like people weren't sure like should they actually disband or should they continue to promote, because there's just all this darkness around them because of like, is the group actually legit in terms of like, should all 11 of them be in there and stuff? And they said, well, we'll take it to a vote between all the agencies that are in there, because there's like there was like a bunch of different agencies, because obviously not all the members are under the same agency. So what happened is, so apparently it came to a vote, and what happened is like for the agencies voted to not continue, 4 agencies voted to continue, and then one agency, they were unclear what the vote was. So, but because it wasn't a unanimous decision, the group disbanded. And this was in early 2020. So the group literally got one EP off, and then they had to disband. So, and because of that, so most of the members actually have all moved on to the group BAE 173. A couple of them have gone on and done solo work, including Woodz, whose real name actually is Cho Sung-yong, but he goes by the stage name Woodz. But he decided to go back into doing his solo work because he had done some solo releases previous to that, and decided just to go back and start, focusing more on his solo career, because he's been a big, producing a lot, singing and songwriting and rapping, and has kind of had more of like an R&B style of stuff. And so since all that happened, he's actually released a couple EPs, and now this is his 3rd EP that he's released since that whole entire drama. So little history, also a little history on the whole produce. I feel like we need to do an episode just on the whole Produce 101 drama and stuff, because that whole
it was like a documentary.
The whole vote fixing thing is a fascinating story about some crazy ass corruption. Again, corruption in Korea. Go figure. Also another reason why we hate Mnet. Besides the many other reasons we hate Mnet. So again, this is why I think people scream every time there's a competition show now on Mnet. Like people are like fixing. So
I think their recent show, what was it called? The 99 Planet or something?
Oh, Girls Planet 999. Yeah,
Girls Planet. It was under Mnet, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, that was another, because they were trying to they were trying to do something similar to Produce 101, but it was a girls competition show that but it had idols from Korea, Japan, and China, I believe. Which everyone was like, okay, if you're gonna have international, idols, why don't you have people from like the States or from like other countries? Like, why is you just keeping it Asian? Like if you call Girls Planet, there was that controversy, and then there's some other controversies. Just again, people talking about like, I swear to God, I think there's been a new controversy on that show every week.
Yeah, I think there's people are targeting Sunmi this time. I'm not quite sure what happened, but
they were. I just saw that they were targeting Sunmi because Sunmi, one of the artists we've talked about in the past here on the show, she's a judge on the show as well as a mentor. Kind of think of like The Voice. Because apparently she said a comment on like the first episode, and she just had a comeback, I think yesterday, which I didn't get a chance to listen to her comeback.
Yeah, isn't it supposed to be like a single comeback?
It was like a single comeback. And so, but then there was like a whole bunch of people leaving hate comments on her video on YouTube, and I think she went to Instagram and was like, why are people leaving hate comments? Like, what did I do? What did I say wrong? And like, she left like this whole like bunch of posts. I think it was on like Instagram. I think it was on Twitter too, of like, why are people like doing this? Like, what would you get for like belittling me, for sending me death threats, for all this stuff? Like, why do you do it? Like, do you get off on like a whole bunch of stuff like that? It feels like she was kind of like, like it was like her ranting, because we've seen people get bullied in the idol world and, unfortunately succumb to their demons because of it. So like, and it's beginning to get worse because we've been seeing a lot of hate and vitriol. Like I swear to God, there's a new controversy every day over the littlest, stupidest shit out there. And it's like
so unnecessary too, because the companies like could do more. They could handle it, but they just like don't, or they just like do like something else that like that's like it's like they don't like take care of other people's well-being,
right? And it's like people, it's like, and I don't know like what the whole like their laws against, again, like it's like hate speech and stuff in Korea, because I don't know if they really have that. Not that I don't think they do much here in the States, because people still leave horrible shit on Western artists page here too, and I don't think shit gets done. But it's really bad, and it's like, do people forget like they're humans too? Like celebrities are humans, because they are, and it's like they're people, they have feelings. Like just because they're on TV or entertaining you, that doesn't mean they don't have feelings. Like they aren't out there doing anything else. It's like, I don't know, it's a lot, and it's just it's just a mini rant to get my chest, because like it's just aggravates me to no end, because they've been seeing it more and more.
Yeah, it's like we've seen past of like idols getting like getting really hurt from like these kinds of attacks too.
Yeah, it's just been it's just aggravating. But I think let's get back to hopefully a happier topic. Let's get back to this album itself. So since we kind of got into a little bit dour moment, but let's get back to this actual album itself with Woodz. With Only Lovers Left. Again, this is his third EP. With again, I think Waiting is more the primary single. I think Kiss of Fire is like a secondary. He says he's promoting his double title tracks, but Woodz has been, like I said, Waiting has been the primary one I've been seeing him promote on the music shows. But I will say this. I love this album.
I really do. For the first, like the person who is like someone who has like not heard of Woodz before, and this is like my introduction to listening to his music. This is like a great gateway to like listen and like get to know like what he is as an artist. And I really dig like the stuff he made in this new album.
Yeah, I mean, even this stuff is even a little bit different than his previous single that he released off of his second EP that he did. When did he do? At least at the end of last year, I believe, which was "Love Me Harder," off a second EP, Equal, and because "Love Me Harder" is a little bit more of a brighter, it's more of a brighter song, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie, "Waiting" is. It's a very soulful song, like very like a bit of pop rock and like a bit of soul to it too. Yeah, it's got a very good amount of soul to it, and like I said, I think it kind of has a tinge of like something like I'd see like Eden produce in something like in his solo work, which I would say his solo work is very, very vastly different than what he's produced from not even just 80s, but what I've seen produced with like B2B and other groups and stuff too. I would say really go check out Eden's solo work. Like some of his solo work is really, really good. Because he's an amazing singer songwriter as well too. Because Woodz produces a lot of his own stuff. He like writes his own stuff and does a lot of the production and stuff too. So if you're looking for someone who's like more self-producing, like I definitely point my way towards Woodz. Yeah, there's also just something super grooving and super addicting, I think, to the song too. That just like makes me want to go back to listen to it again and again.
Yeah, some of like the songs there makes me want to like just go and just like have like my rest and have like a chill time. And I really love the first song that was in front of the album, which is Multiply. Yeah, this is like a great way to like just like relax and just like get into the mood, right? He's just like. It's very soulful, and I like his style in R&B, and then even like a bit of rock and soul to it. Really great, really great mix, as well as like even like the more upbeat ones with like the dance pop. I really enjoy those too.
Yeah, I mean, he just has a really good combination of like really good like soulful R&B. A little bit dance pop in there too. Occasionally he has a little bit of like rap, because I think I really like the rap in like Sour Candy. because that kind of like really kind of brings it up, because I really like the sweet and like the name of the title, sour candy, like it's kind of good, the sweet and sourness to it, because it just, the way it just flows together. It has this also really kind of fun sass to it, with like the cadence of the song that I really, really dug to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I also really, really liked, I'm not gonna lie, I really do like Kiss a Fire, which he says is the second title track. Like, there's just something that just immediately grabs me about that song, just like the emotion he puts through singing that. I just saw he just released the day we're recording this today, the 12th, he released a live version on his YouTube page, and I watched that, and you just see the emotion he's pouring out on that as he was just performing it live, like just like outside with like just some like scaffolding and like fire, and it's like there's just something so just mesmerizing watching him perform that, just because it's this R&B soulful, like it almost feels like something like The Weeknd would perform.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing, especially just like Kiss of Fire is more of the dance pop of dance pop of the album. It really drives your heart, and like really delivers such an emotion through his voice and like through the music as well. Like it like really like overwhelms you to like like have some kind of like these types of feelings, like some kind of like longing. So it really he really like succeeded in like doing something like that.
Even the final song on the album, Chaser, has has some kind of like again some of those like Weeknd feelings to it. It's very 80s synth pop, I feel like, a little bit with some of those driving beats, because I feel like it really has like, it's a great like 80s throwback vibe to that song, like, and again the modern twist.
Modern twist, because I feel something that we hear from like in 2000s pop, more like with a bit of like inspired by the 80s. Right,
exactly. So I guess just through and through, like this album is just a solid listen. Like this might be going on my top 10 of 2021. This is such a good listen. Like I keep coming back to this album. It's just a good mix of R&B and just really good vocals and just good emotion. It just puts me in a really good headspace, just with his the prowess of his voice and just the emotion he can bring through. And it's just it's amazing to see the growth from his first singles that I know of to where he's grown to now. Because like I said, I've listened to some of his older stuff and then listening to like his new stuff now, just seeing his growth is like super impressive. And he's good. He's somebody you should really, in the R&B scene in K-pop, like you should really go check out his work. He's like an underrated artist, and since this is my first time like listening to him, this really helped in making me want to like explore more of his works like from the past. And this is something that, we should really need to, with the K-pop industry and how like manufactured, like a lot of the productions can be. But, with something like, with Woodz, so since he mostly produced like, or, made this album for himself, we should like really like encourage people to like do more of this kind of project too. Yeah. Also, I do have to give a shout out because he did actually get his first ever music show win today on SBS. The show he did. He unfortunately beat out ATs. No, I'm kidding. I actually, this was so well deserved because is, like I said, this is such a good album, and Waiting is such a good song. I really highly recommend you check out the music video for it, because it is so, the emotions you go through in that music video, and just I can't spoil anything. I can't say anything else, but just go watch the music video.
I was like working on like on the slideshow, and then I was like thinking, should I like put some like screenshots from the music video, or no? I'm just gonna like put like just the teaser photos.
You can. I can't say much because it's like I don't want to spoil the music video, but go watch.
I kind of don't know what the heck just happened there. It was like, okay, like a bunch of like it's stuff going on, but it's just like I was kind of left confused, like, oh, wait, what happened? What's going on? I was trying to figure out like, okay, like what's going on, like I don't know, like what, but I couldn't really spoil like what's happening with with his character, but just I was like questioning, wait
it's just kind of like And then like that's all I can say. That's all I can say without spoiling a thing from it. But I highly recommend you go check it out. I highly recommend you go listen to Love Me Harder. Such a fantastic album. So this is such an amazing album. So
yeah.
Anything else from Woodz, or should we move on to our final album of the week?
Well, yeah. I mean, I just mentioned "Multiply," which is like a really chill, song that I could like listen when I'm doing nothing. "Kiss of Fire," like a good dance beat. "Thinking About You," yeah, I also like that as well.
Yeah.
"Thinking About You."
So yeah,
not Frank Ocean, but like Woodz, Woodz song.
Woodz "Thinking About You." So yeah, go.
Yeah. They're good R&B artists, though, like on their own too.
Yeah, no, seriously, go check this album out. It's, if you really love R&B, like, and you want to listen to something new, obviously in a different language, but if you want to go listen to something new, like very good, sensual, very emotional R&B, I'd say go check
actually,
out
like some of the songs there are in English too, right? Like I think "Multiply" and "Thinking About You" are English.
I think they're mostly English. I think there's some Korean in it.
Yeah.
I think.
I kind of listening. It's like, okay, English. Yeah, it's like, okay.
Because Kiss of Fire has a good chunk of English. There is some Korean in Kiss of Fire. So he does definitely play with a little bit of multilingualism in there too. So it's definitely approachable for an international audience. So, but let's get on to our final album, and the album that was actually just released today, October 12th.
Today, which I had to cram in, listening to it.
I know, it was a cram this morning. It's like, oh wait, music video dropped. Get to watch that first thing in the morning, and then listen to this album while I was at work today. But we are talking about Enhypen and their actual first full studio album with Dimension Dilemma. Again, because this is their third album in their discography, but their first full studio album, because it officially has 8 tracks, so it officially counts as a studio album. Apparently, I think that's the magic number that Hype counts as a studio album. But with the title track, Tamed Dashed. Excuse me, I have to enunciate.
I thought it was Tamed Dashed, like tame and then dashed with an D at the end.
I think it was Tamed Dashed.
Are we gonna have a bet and then just see what the appropriate title is? So
I think we are potentially. No, I'm kidding. No, I just checked. It is Tamed Dashed because I just saw a Studio Choom preview on my YouTube. Because that's coming, y'all. Because of course it is. But I just mean, considering where we kind of left off with, Drunk Dazed and everything off of Border Carnival, because that was kind of a darker album for them.
Very darker, but also with a dance, a dance pop or EDM, dance pop EDM type of thing. Because I think their debut song feels slower, feels more of a pop ballad, almost like that. Yeah.
This definitely went brighter. They definitely went brighter with Tamed Dash. I feel like
it's a hot vampire summer with them.
It is hot. It's late hot vampire summer apparently.
I know it's already cold in my area, and it's like listening to that song. I just want to go back to hotter days.
I think part of it is I think they were trying to get this out earlier, but because 6 out of the 7 members of Enhypen got COVID while we were gone on hiatus. I think this album got delayed because I feel like this was supposed to come out in August or early September. I feel like this was supposed to be a summer album and potentially supposed to come out maybe a month ago. Especially with the song, with the single, because they had mentioned a lot of summer, and it does have some summery vibes like we saw with some of this other summer albums we saw this year. So I feel like it's just, unfortunately, with them getting COVID, the only member who didn't get COVID was Sonu, which is crazy because he apparently has a little immune compromised. He said he's had some immune issues in the past. He's the only one who didn't get COVID. The rest of them did, or tested positive for COVID because they all had to quarantine. Unfortunately, at the end of August, so it did kind of push things back, I think, in terms of their schedule, and so I think that's why this is coming out maybe a little later than they would have hoped. But besides the fact it's a little literally for like a summery vibe. I kind of do like the fact like they aren't sticking like obviously with like the same theme. Like they at least can
like dark con, yeah.
stick with the dark. I mean, they could totally stick with the dark thing because again, vampire concepts. Especially they've been sticking with their music videos and stuff because we still kind of do see that in the music video for Tamed Dashed. But I do like the fact that it is, you know, it is a little bit more dancier. Like I think the thing that's connecting all these songs together, all the singles, it's the fact they all have more of a dancier beat to them. Like they have an EDM dance.
Yeah, and who says that vampires can't have fun during the summer?
Exactly. Who says the vampires can't have fun playing rugby on the beach in the summer?
Yeah, in the sun. Yeah,
in the sun.
Which I'm still kind of curious, like about their, you know, their powers, since you know how like vampires are very, you know, they cannot go like be exposed under the sun. So I'm kind of curious about like why some of the scenes, like they're, you know, they're having fun, you know, like playing, you know, playing in the beach, but there's like some moments like one of them like got exposed to sunlight and then starts burning. So I like, think okay, like what kind of like what's going on? Yeah,
I think part of it, and this is my theory, on their universe. It's like I think
theory.
They keep flashing back because they were wearing older clothes when they were showing like Sunwoo getting burned and stuff. I think that was like them back in the past because I think because we see them originally kind of get turned in the first video in their universe. Like it's like more Victorian times. It's like, you know, like
Victorian.
So and they're still kind of wearing those older clothes. Whereas obviously when they're all out in the sun, it's like more modern times, kind of like, you know, drunk days where it's mostly a house party and stuff. But that's
like
at night.
Like a house party. Yeah.
But like I think like somehow they managed to become immune to the sun. I don't know how. But
so what's going on?
Somehow they did. And so they're able to now walk in the sunlight freely. And so now that's why they're able to walk out and now actually kind of mingle with just humanity. Because they kind of also do tease their powers a little bit in the Japanese version of Give and Taken. If you want to delve into their universe deeper, go watch the Japanese version of Give and Taken, which came out in between Border Carnival and Dimension Dazed here. They definitely are. The music video for that is definitely kind of more showcasing more of their vampiric sides and definitely showcasing potentially some of the powers that they might have as vampires. So again, a little bit of lore into their universe, but kind of interesting seeing like all the little cookie crumbs that's happening currently with that. But especially because they do kind of have a bit of a storytelling arc since they do continue that intro outro on their album with that they kind of do like this more like spoken intro outro with these very interesting like almost experimental beats because I feel like it's more experimental, especially in this album with Jake over doing the narration because you can tell.
I mean, which I like how they're. Yeah, I like how they're being consistent with like the, you know, keeping a narrative, like having an intro and and like having that intro like that, you know, like presents like the, you know, what the album's going to be, like the themes, and as well as just like, you know, just like staying in like in the character of like their narrative or what they're like going through, which I, you know, totally appreciate. Yeah,
because I mean this one's definitely kind of more definitely the journey of like them like more navigating like they're kind of how are they explaining it because like they're on like now this island and you kind of feel like the island thing too, especially in the music video because on the beach and stuff. But like, you know, I think it's more of them like growing up. It's again more of an overall narrative of them, you know, growing up in youth and stuff, kind of like Tomorrow by Together, but it's taking more of like a fantasy obviously term with vampires. But you know, it's an overall metaphor for like the actual story that they're telling, which I think is a good way of doing it because it's good to kind of use, again, this is me as a writer, using metaphors to kind of explain what you're trying to do. And so I think that, you know, kind of using some of those metaphors help. And so for your universe and stuff. So considering a lot of groups, I think do definitely talk about like, you know, youth and stuff and, you know, the struggles they see growing up and, you know, that, and just, you know, in their own window. And so just, you know, using these different storytelling vehicles to navigate the story is just very interesting for me for all these different groups, like seeing Tomorrow by Together with, well, I guess they have more of a fantasy too, because they're more magical. Whereas Enhypen is, you know, vampiric. especially under the same umbrella company too, because apparently there's a possibility that these two universes may overlap, but.
Oh, are gonna have their own like cinematic universe too?
Potentially. There's a theory after Drunk Days that potentially they might overlap a little bit. We're not 100% sure. Well, who knows?
I mean, shaking right now.
Who knows? I mean, Yeonjun did feature on one of the tracks on this album, so we don't know. But
oh yeah. Which are we gonna get into that?
Do we want to
now or later?
Do we want to, or do we want to go a little bit more into Tame Dash? Because I mean, like I said, let's get into a little bit more into Tame Dash before we get into more into the other tracks on the album. Because like I said, I think Tame Dash versus anything in the past what I've seen with Enhypen is, like I said, it's brighter. It's definitely
very bright.
It's definitely more dance pop.
Yeah, it's very like more. It's very like more upbeat and lighthearted as opposed to the other concepts or like the themes behind like Give and Taken or Drunk Days, which is like them as like really like like these monstrous creatures and then them trying to lure other people like victims. But this one is just like them having fun, which is like it's a nice change to that.
Yeah,
and hopefully they can like be more diverse and but still keeping it to like their stories as vampires.
Because I mean, even looking at the lyrics, like they're still kind of like it's still very adventurous, but they're still like very cautious. Like it still feels very like restrained, like a restrained adventure in a way, because they kind of still like have that like horrible secret that they're holding, because again, vampires. But I kind of appreciate that, because they're still not fully saying vampire, but you know what I mean. We know, but it's kind of a cool way to portray it. And like I said, I mean, the music video itself, obviously, again, still tying into their universe. Wow, a lot of rugby. I was like, apparently they brought it over from Australia.
Probably.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Them in the red tops with the leather skirts was actually not a bad look. But there's a lot of a lot of preppy sports looks in this era, I feel like, for them. So
makes them really look, like it kind of makes sense, because how like they dressed up in like this Victorian attire in their first music video, and now like kind of like continuing on with the kind of British type of aesthetic from them, and like having like this uniform and like playing rugby.
Yeah,
so it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
It's very Private Academy. Also, like it definitely shows more of matureness, because like you can definitely tell this group has matured in the almost less than a year that they have been out there. I mean, because again, this group is relatively young compared to a lot of the fourth gen groups in terms of their ages. I mean, Nikki is going to be 17 next month, I believe. So
oh wow, the 17.
Yeah, Nikki's young. Nikki's still 16. He'll be 17 next month. Because I think Nikki's birthday was like literally right after debut. So yeah, I mean they're a young group, and you can definitely tell in just
they are going strong. It's just like within less a year. Yeah,
maturity
exactly.
That they've had already, in like again in this short amount of time, and like they're still hungry to learn more and to grow more. I feel like they I really do sense that with them. And I guess it really do. Go ahead.
Oh well, I mean, it helps too, like with the influence, like with their like brother company, like with BTS, TXT, and like with Enhypen. I think them, like collaborating or being able to like help each other, really helps to like make a name for themselves, because Hype is a very like a very well known company as of now.
Yeah.
So I think it helps too, like being under that kind of
it
company,
does.
even though it's B-Lift.
Yeah, even though it's technically a joint venture, but they still definitely, I think, have and like Tomorrow by Together, like even though they have the name behind them, like I still feel like they are establishing a reason why you should follow them, and like why they deserve the amount of success that they deserve, because I think they are that good. Like they are that good of a group. Like I think they are legit contender for being like one of the top groups of the fourth generation, even though they're still relatively young in the fourth generation. Like I can't give it to them yet, because they haven't been around as long as, say, like Stray Kids or Tomorrow by Together or ATEEZ or any of the other bigger fourth gen groups. But they are definitely kind of putting themselves out there and like showing like they're growing very fast, and they're growing in a way that I think they could set themselves apart to be a very unique group within this bubble of fourth generation. Because I feel like eventually we're going to be ending the fourth generation and getting onto our fifth generation very soon. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, seriously?
That's what people keep saying, but I'm like, I don't know if we're quite to fifth generation yet.
Yeah, but we've entered the fourth generation though. Like it's in the
fourth
late
generation is like 2017
or 18.
That was 18 because it's only been like
where are we?
3 years. Because like it's like Stray Kids is like one of the
short generation though.
I'm about to say like I think like Stray Kids is like one of the first groups I know that's like fourth generation. So I'm like, we gotta hold off, you guys. Like, I mean, because like third generation's like what I think like I'd say 2011, 2012 ish maybe.
Yeah, it's like almost like a decade, with like the generations, and also you gotta have like a new element that would make like kickstart the fifth generation.
Exactly.
Like there needs to be someone that's gonna like have to like really pave the way of like how K-pop is gonna sound like now.
Right. Because we haven't quite gotten to that point yet, because everyone's still kind of trying to curb off one another. I mean, there's some groups that stand out obviously other than over others, but there's nothing that's like unique. There's like it's like distinguished. Like this is like the first gen. This is the second gen. This is third. This is fourth.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Hold off, you guys. Like we're not quite to fifth generation yet. Hold off. We're like
getting too ahead of yourself.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. But yeah, I mean, what do you think of the other songs on this album? Because again, I think the whole album itself is very dance poppy. It does get more to like a rock vibe. Like
at the end, I think they really went like hard at the end, which makes sense in the technical aspect, because you got to have it make sense and not be all over the place. But I really like the I enjoy like the dance pop tracks such as Upper Side Dreaming. It feels like it has like a more like like a bit of like a funk into it, but I should listen into it again. But I really like the upbeat, like the vibes of like the track. And I think like the rest of my favorite songs are more at the end now, because it's going to be like the really hard hitting songs such as Blockbuster and Attention Please.
Yeah, no, I know that. I really liked, like I said, Blockbuster, which again we were talking about how Yeonjun from Tomorrow by Together was featuring on this album. That's the song he features on, and like his vocals like definitely like really combine well with Enhypen's as a group. And I mean, it is like I feel like that kind of picks up like kind of after where Yeonjun's Studio Choom performance.
Exactly. No, like also like with TXT, because they're going with like the more 2000s like alt rock era with their music. Yeah. So it felt like it's like seeping through with Enhypen now. It's like now we're gonna go like alt rock too. Right. But no, like with that Blockbuster. Yeah, it really harkens back, because like the sound of the production of it really feels like the 90s rave scene. It feels like exactly that, because it's like more of like the like heavy like EDM and like techno like with the music. And it feels like something like you would hear from from Blaze in the 90s, or like this European rave clubs.
Very much.
Because I was headbanging through like with that track, before going off to like do like my errands. But
no, I feel like that too. Like it's definitely a track you want to headbang to. Like even like the track before that, Go Big or Go Home, which I'm happy to know that they're promoting that song too, currently. But it's kind of got like, I feel like it has a bit of like a 90s Eurobeat retro vibe to it too, but it's also kind of more rock oriented, and it kind of like again, it's more retro, but it's again that more modern take on the retro, but it definitely kind of feels like a little Eurobeat, a little ravey. And I kind of like, it's again like they've really, I think, establishing themselves in this really like kind of more dancier sound like throughout their music. And I really do appreciate, because I think that they're finally kind of finding this niche that's working for them. And I think that's kind of going to be like, oh, that's Enhypen's sound. That's kind of their thing. And I think we're finally kind of cementing that. And it'd be interesting to see where they take it and where they experiment with it, because obviously we've seen darker stuff and now we're seeing brighter stuff and seeing where they go from there.
Good to have a lot of diversity in the music, but still, like people can tell like which is, like the distinguished sound of like each group.
Exactly. I also did like Attention Please, the I guess the penultimate song before the outro. Because it's not very.
I think it's called the interlude too. Actually, the end track is also called interlude, not like an outro.
Oh yeah, that's right. They called it an interlude because it's kind of a in kind of holding us off because it's now this new era
to be continued.
Yeah, this new era of Enhypen. I think they did that too at the end of their first album was an interlude and not an outro. So they kind of like.
Oh really? Okay.
I believe that's how they did it at the end of.
Let me check again.
I'm checking right now as I'm. No, I'm kidding. Off of Border Day 1. Oh no, they did. It was an outro at the end of Border Day 1.
Yeah, but, outro.
Yeah, no, they call this one an interlude. So. Interlude question, but
would it be like a repackage on the way? I guess. Do you think that was like the intention?
I don't know because usually they don't announce repackages until like usually a couple weeks later, or unless I don't know. Didn't NCT just like announce their repackage like last week?
They just announced their
for sticker, and I was like, we just had sticker. I don't know.
Yeah, we had sticker, and now like they're already because they're really racking up with their own projects. But
anyway.
With Enhypen,
anyway, with Intention Please, like I think it was a good like in terms of the songs itself before not counting the intro outros. I really liked it because it's like it felt like more modern rock. Like I felt something like very 5 Seconds of Summer, like something more modern rock we see nowadays. And I just really like that sound with them and their vocals. So it felt really fun and just like I'm really liking this and I'm really liking where they're going because I'm really loving seeing their growth and seeing where they're going.
Yeah.
And I'm really loving seeing where they're taking this concept and how they're elevating it and where they're going to go with it. Cause it's really fascinating to me. And cause when we said, vampire, it's like, okay, what could you do with it? And I feel like they're taking it and it's very cool how they're being innovative with it. Yeah. So I like that. I really like this album and this one's growing on me. I like that. We'll do about a day, less than a day. So I'm still kind of getting my, myself all situated with it, but I really do like it because I love the flow of it. And I just love, again, how all their albums really do tell a story and they kind of do serve like soundtracks to this overall arcing story that they're doing with their universe. So this is what you should be doing.
And have they received any music show wins so far?
Well, no, because no, they won't have because usually music show wins like they won't start promoting. They'll start promoting later this week, but they won't be eligible for wins until next week. So
but have they so far from like Give and Take into
I don't think
have they won before? Or?
I don't know. Did Drunk Days win anything last era? I don't know if that did win anything. I'm gonna double check right now, so I'm gonna go check it now.
I mean, aespa hasn't had any wins before, so we're just waiting until when will be what will be their song that will earn them like their very first win in their careers.
I know it's like what we're always
so interesting for them to see. Because I was pleasantly surprised with Key winning winning an award for Bad Love, which I'm like so happy. Like yes, like even though he be like itsy, it's still well deserved.
Oh my god, I was so happy. I mean, him. I'm not gonna lie, I cried when he cried. With him winning because I think he was super shocked.
I was shocked too, because you know how hard it is for solo artists to like win unless you're like if you're very well known. But that is a great surprise. Yeah. It's good for him.
I take it back. So they did win. Did get a win. They got I think 3 wins for Drunk Days.
Oh wow.
Because they won on the show and then they went on Show Champion at Music Bank for Drunk Days.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So they're really starting off strong now.
Yeah.
Then.
So they should be. So we'll see what happens with Tamed Dash. I know I think last I checked, it was sitting at around 5-ish million views on YouTube, around 6. So. I don't know if it'll top the top 5 currently of for Gen comebacks for music videos because I know people have been tracking that lately. But
Yeah.
for at least for boy groups. Because I think right now that's been overwhelmingly dominated by ATs, and I think there's a Stray Kids and there's a Tomorrow by Together song in there. So, but one day maybe. So, I mean, I saw this morning, like when I first saw it, like it already had like 2 million views and it just kind of fallen off throughout the day. So hopefully engines can keep it going with streaming and hopefully help them get out and get a win. So that's all we can do. So, but that's going to do it, I think, for this week for music reviews. And yeah, because I mean, just getting back to the swing of things here here on the Noonas podcast.
Business as usual.
Definitely business as usual. I mean, we're in comeback season. I think we're going to start getting a lot of comebacks here before, we hit award season, because eventually we're going to be hitting.
Oh, great.
Whew, yeah, like I said, that's going to be fun.
But
I mean, next week, I'm trying to see what's all coming out next week here. Oh, that's right, because we have Black Swan coming back finally with their new album.
Oh, cool.
Finally, I think they come actually out later this week, if I remember correctly. Oh, that's right, and Eric Nam has new music too.
Oh, nice.
Who we should definitely talk about Eric Nam, I think, on the show, because I think he's a fantastic.
Our boy Eric.
Our boy Eric. He's hilarious. And I believe next week we should also maybe talk about. I'm not gonna know what else coming back next week. We might be able to talk about before we have to record next week. We might be able to talk about. I think there's a release from IU next week as well. So.
Oh, seriously?
Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if it's an album or if it's a one-off single, but she is releasing some new music next week. So, but I know coming up soon on the show, it won't be this next week, but the week after, we're going to be talking about Kingdom, the group Kingdom. I know we were teasing them.
Right, with their Ivan.
With Ivan, which I'm not going to lie, I did pre-order today. I'm not gonna,
nice.
Because I'm not going to lie, I looked at the artwork and stuff on it, and it is gorgeous. Like...
Oh, nice. You know what they should do?
Really gorgeous. I should do
You know what they should do for their package?
What?
Because it's going to be like an Ivan, like, with Ivan the Terrible. So it's more about the Russian history. Mm-hmm. If they have this, like, them as, like, Russian nesting dolls, like, for each member.
I don't think it's anything like that, but, like, I was getting very Game of Thrones-esque kind of vibes from the packaging a little bit. Like, there's, like, a map and stuff. And, like, some, like, game care. Well, I'm gonna have to show you when it comes. I should really do some unboxing videos is what I should do when I start getting my albums. I should do that. Future ideas for the YouTube page. If we just started doing YouTube stuff. Ideas for the future.
Right. Oh god, but I'm still so scared though, because I don't want to get like those troll comments and all that.
Yeah, I know, that's the only thing. Troll comments, and then also just me being a dork on YouTube, because that's all we need. But also coming up, I know coming up too, we have 17's comeback, and we also have CL's comeback, her official comeback.
Yeah, official comeback.
But that's coming, later down the road here. So, but we'll be back next week with a couple more reviews, any more K-pop news. But I guess before we go, do you have anything you want to plug, Miss Jenni?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook at Jenni Liano. So that's Ginny and Leano. Or you can check out my design page on Facebook at Jenni Liano Designs, or on my Instagram at Jenni Designs. Hopefully you'll be able to find all of my personal pages and links through those pages. And back to you, Jenni.
And you can find me, Jenni, over on Facebook, facebook.com/Jenni Matasek. That's Jenni with an I, Matasek. You can find me also over on Twitter and on Instagram at Chaos Bulldog. You can also find the show pages for the Noonas podcast over on Twitter and on Instagram at Noonas_podcast. Don't forget the underscore. You can also check out any of our Spotify playlists for any shows of our past shows. Just check out the handles of the shows to take you over to Spotify and our Spotify links. And you can also check out previous episodes of the Noonas podcast over on the Metropolis Collective, or you can check out the audio only version over on SoundCloud on soundcloud.com/Noonas podcast, all one word. And yeah, I guess this is it for this week's episode of the Noonas podcast. I got really nothing else to wrap up this week.
Yeah, well, it was going to be like a bombastic comeback for us. This is our official one, but I was like, yeah, it's business as usual. It's like back to school.
Yeah, I mean, last week I feel like it was a little more bombastic with our pre-comeback special because it was just more
like all of our recap episodes. That's a huge recap episode for like the things that we missed.
That was chaotic, but it was fun. I missed it.
Yeah, it was fun.
I missed it so much, but I mean, what can I say? It was us reviewing 3.5 months worth of music. It managed to do in 2 hours, so that's pretty impressive. I still will say. So, but yeah.
And so there's like a boo. No kidding.
Yeah, well, like I said, 6 hours. You can't force me to do 6 hour show unless it's a live stream. Then maybe, but then I probably get flaked by Mnet because it's the only thing that's 6 hours long is Mama.
No,
and I'm not doing that. No. Because also that's at like 3 a.m, and you don't want to see this at 3 a.m. live on camera.
Way.
No, you don't. So anyway, with that, a resounding fighting.